You're live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our quarterly board meeting for the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley Board of Directors. It's Thursday, July 24th, 2025 at 9 a.m. So I have called us to order, and if you'll please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll do determination of quorum, but when I now kind of think of as introduction of the dais, I wish we had some pump music playing in the background, but ex officio member Bencomo? Here. Good morning. Ex officio member Ward?
Present.
Thank you. Board member Campbell?
Present.
Board member Gates? Here. Vice Chair Shaljo Hernandez?
Present.
Board member Bueling Gardner?
Good morning, present.
And Councillor Corrin?
Present.
And I, Chair Councillor Becky Graham, am obviously present, and we have our quorum. At this time, I'd entertain a motion for acceptance of our agenda.
So moved, Shaljo Hernandez.
Thank you.
Second, Corin.
Thank you so much. And I'll do a roll call. Board member Campbell?
Present.
Board member Gates? Here. Well, we're technically voting, so yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. A little bit confusing on the terminology there. Vice Chair Shaljo Hernandez?
Yes.
Board member Bueling Gardner?
Yes.
Councillor Corrin?
Yes.
And I, Chair Graham, vote yes. And we also have our minutes for approval from our last quarterly meeting held on April 25th, 2025.
So moved, Shaljo Hernandez.
Thank you.
Second.
Oh, and our second by Board Member Campbell. Thank you so much. So I will now ask for your votes. I won't say roll call. Board Member Campbell.
Yes.
Board Member Gates.
Yes.
Vice Chair Shaljo Hernandez.
Yes.
Board Member Bueling Gardner.
Yes.
Councillor Corrin.
Yes.
And I, Chair Graham, vote yes. What's up?
Just sidebar.
Oh, okay. Got it. Moving right along, we'll get into our reports and presentations. And first this morning, we have Sarah Kurtz, Executive Director of the Doñana County Humane Society. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Okay, bear with me. Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Kurtz. I'm the Executive Director of the Doñana County Humane Society. So a little history about the Doñana County Humane Society. We were founded in 1955 as the shelter. In 2008, the city and the county took over shelter operations, establishing the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. The board at that time did continue as a 501c3 nonprofit, and currently we operate 3 community programs. Our largest program is the Animal Relief Fund. We serve low-income Doñana County residents through a voucher program. To qualify for the program, you must fill out our application. You must prove proof of residency that you do reside in Doñana County. Proof of income, we follow the HUD guidelines, provide a $50 copay for the voucher, and a photo of your pet. We serve clients once a year based on the last date of service. That would be for the vaccination vouchers as well as the medical care vouchers. Twice a year they can qualify for prescription medication vouchers. So the veterinary care voucher, each voucher has a $250 value towards vet care. The vaccination voucher is $50 towards vaccination costs, does not have a copay because the value is $50. And then the long-term medication voucher is good for the 6 months or up to $750 in medication. We just finished on June 30th our fiscal year for 24-25, and these are the numbers that we did for the Animal Relief Fund. We issued 785 vouchers total. That dollar amount total to over $167,000 in assistance to Doñana County residents. To date, this was as of last week, we had 50 vouchers issued as of July 1st, totaling over $16,000. Currently, we have issued over $23,000 as of this morning. So it is very busy for us with the Animal Relief Fund. Our second largest program, which goes hand in hand with the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley, is the Rough to Ready program. This program was designed to help dogs specifically who are adopted or fostered from the Animal Services Center or Action Programs for Animals who are having issues after being adopted, adapting to their new homes. What the board at the time in 2008 was seeing was that a lot of people would adopt a dog and a couple weeks later surrender it back due to numerous issues of behavior without giving it proper time to adjust into the home. So with the Rough to Ready program, we offer 2 free trainings when they are fostered or adopted by our certified dog trainer, Hope Movsession, to help keep them in the home, whether it's potty training or leash pulling, or maybe they're nipping at children, things that can't really be identified until they're in the home to help them to not be surrendered back. In 2024, we were able to expand the program into the shelter, so not just helping the adopted, but to help the adoptables. And in the 24-25 fiscal year, 12 individual in-shelter dogs received one-on-one training with Hope, and 9 group classes were provided by the Rough to Ready program with the volunteers, as well as Zoom meetings with the fosters. So, this was the first year that we were able to do the expansion, and these are some of your animals that we were able to help. Billy, Jesse, and Cookie went through the Rough to Ready program in 2024. They were featured in our spring newsletter as all 3 of them were adopted. Most recently, your long-term stays, Dora and Talia, were also trained by Hope and have also been adopted. Currently, this expansion is funded through donations. So as long as we are able to maintain consistent donations, we are happy to continue to be expanded into the shelter, as well as continuing with the normal Rough to Ready. So, for example, with these pets, once they are adopted, they are eligible for additional trainings again to the adopter to help adapt and stay in the home. Our Pets for Seniors program is specifically to the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. We provide a $25 discount for seniors 60 and over who adopt from the shelter. This can be cats, dogs, birds, whatever pet they have decided to adopt from you all. In the fiscal year 24-25, 84 pets were adopted through the Pets for Seniors programs, receiving that discount. We currently just wrapped up, or I guess at the end of the month, your Red, White, and Cute adoption event. We sponsored the first 80 adoptions for that. I believe you're close to 200 adoptions in this month alone, so I'm really curious next month to see how many went through the Pets for Seniors program. Hopefully quite a bit. How are we funded? So at the moment, the Animal Relief Fund is the only program we have that is funded through grants. The rest are funded through planned gifts, bequests, individual donors, our fundraisers that we have throughout the year. The Rough to Ready program, approximately in the normal Rough to Ready program, once they're adopted, runs about $156 per pet. The expansion into this shelter varies depending on the dog's needs and the group work that Hope has been doing. And then the Pets for Seniors is $25 per adoption. Any questions for me?
I don't have any questions. I just know that I just really want to appreciate you, Sarah, for making this a really impactful series of programs. And I know, as I do every time, I want to encourage my colleagues to think about how we can support you in meaningful ways, whatever those look like. I know that you really do a lot to help the shelter in a number of ways that, as you mentioned, we've identified need help, right? And
Yes.
and keeping pets in homes is really important. And I know the record. Hopefully, like a huge number of animals getting adopted this month. I know that your promotional work, even though that you don't put a money value on that, means a lot to the shelter. So thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate you, and I hope my colleagues can appreciate you too, with cash, is what I always mean when I say that. So
Yes, thank you so much.
thank you.
It's our pleasure.
None of that in-kind appreciation. Huh? Other comments or questions from the board? Yes, but I also just want to thank you personally. The adoptions, the Pets for Seniors thing is absolutely amazing. But also, so much of it is keeping them in homes once they find them, whether that's through support for medical care that if might otherwise end in a surrender or...
And I think that's the most important thing, especially with the Animal Relief Fund, because people who have to surrender a senior, 12-year-old dog with an illness, that's not an adoptable dog. So if we can keep people and pets together, which is our motto, but at that point, their family, keeping the pet with their family and help provide the assistance that we can is most important to us. And then also, of course, with the Pets for Seniors, something we've had to explain lately. Once they adopt, they are also eligible for the Rough to Ready program. And then if they're seniors with an income, or low income, they are probably eligible for the Animal Relief Fund. They can utilize all of our programs. So as they do come into the office, we do stress this to them, that if they adopt from the ASCMV and they're a senior, they're automatically eligible for the Rough to Ready program. And then, let's see how we can help you financially as well. So
Amazing. Thank you so much.
thank you.
All right. Have a great morning.
You too. Thank you so much.
Next up are city and county ACO reports. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair and members. There it is. My name is Brian Holsey. I'm the caseworker for Donana County Animal Control, and I'm here to present the April through June numbers for the county. For our reported stray animals, we had 802 reported stray animals. We were able to pick up 630 stray animals. Out of those animals, it was 153 stray cats and 477 stray dogs. We picked up 32 sick or injured animals, which consisted of 20 cats and 12 dogs. And the big number for this report, we had 94 owner surrenders, which is higher than what we normally have, which was 1 cat and 93 dogs. Our reported stray animal call comparison. So for between this year and last year, it's about the same. It's been pretty consistent throughout the years. I'd like to see the numbers go down, but that's what they are. This is our 4-year field return to owners. For April, we had 13. For May, we had a really good month. We had 30 return to owners in the field. And for June, we had 21. For our additional animals picked up, we had 1 owner surrender cat, 93 owner surrender dogs, 32 sick and injured animals. We had 7 that were welfare holds. For those that are new on the board, welfare holds are anything like if Border Patrol, Sheriff's Unit, State Police, whoever, they're picking up someone and they have animals with them, something like that, they call us and we do the welfare hold for them. We had 1 neglect, abuse, cruelty case. We had 23 shelter quarantines, 22 home quarantines. For court hold quarantine cases, we had 6. For our live evidence currently held, we do have 9. Currently, that number's gone up by 4. It's not live evidence being held, but with the floods in Vado and that area, we are giving assistance and holding animals for people. And with that, if anybody watching, if they are affected by the floods, keyword affected by the floods, they could dial for the operations of emergency management, and then will give us a call and we could go and assist. We had one rabies submission, which was negative. We had 67 diverted intakes, 960 education, and our total calls for the 3 months was 2,074. So this is broken down through each area. For District 1, 0 cats, 14 dogs. District 2, we had 34 cats and 37 dogs. District 3, we had 22 cats and 132 dogs. District 4, we had 50 cats and 100 dogs. District 5, we had 20 cats and 61 dogs. District 6, 2 cats, 17 dogs. And District 7 was 25 cats and 113 dogs. Seems like once or twice a year, District 3 seems to always have an uptick. I don't know why, but it seems like once or twice a year we always see in our stats that they get a big uptick, and that was throughout these 3 months. So our stray cats per district, that's the graph for you guys. And that's the one for the stray dogs. And now the big one are reasons for owner release. We had 9 that were vicious and or dangerous. We had 1 that was aggressive. We had 4 that they were just unable to keep on the property. We had 8 that they were unable to afford. We had 8 that were sick and injured. We had 5 for behavior issues. One of our big ones was unable to care for, was 24. We had 1 that was reported lost, I believe they said 5 years ago, and we found the dog and they no longer wanted it. We had 4 that were moving. We had 4 for they were unable to control due to high energy. A lot of those were like elderly couples that just had a dog that was too much energy for them. We had 3 that were, the owner was going into assisted living and could no longer keep them. The other big one is 21 for owners having too many animals. We had several cases where we went to a place that just had a lot of animals, so they got rid of them. We had 2 that were either the pet was old or it was a euthanasia request. And for that, I'll stand for any questions.
Just before I forget, I'll turn it over to my colleagues in a moment. In regard to anyone who is looking for a pet family member from the flood situation, would they then call 211?
Yes.
Okay, and then and I'm not sure, how long will 211 be an active number? Is there a timeline on that?
I was not informed.
Okay.
They just said anyone that's affected and they need our help for any assistance for animals or anything, period, to call the 211 number. And then emergency management will get a hold of us and let us know where we need to go and respond.
Okay, fantastic.
And go from there. So.
And I've already seen social media being used to put up pictures of some of those pets. So heartbreaking, but hopeful.
Yeah.
Colleagues, questions, comments? Okay, thank you so much. Moving on to city. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Gino Jimenez. I will be presenting you the April through June second quarter report. So for the benefit of the board, I've broken it down into monthly stats. However, I will fast forward and we will move on to slide number 13, which gives us the entire quarter. So here is our reported strays for the total for the second quarter. In April, we responded to 494 calls for strays, in May 367, and in June 472, giving us a total of 2,615 for the year. As part of my presentation, that coincides with our peak performance goals of 65% of reported animals strayed secured. We were able to secure 50% of those animals. Our 3-year field RTO comparison, April we did 40, in May we did 31, and in June 35. Our field RTO is animals that were impounded by officers that had some sort of identification, and we were able to return those to the owner. So that eliminates those animals crossing the threshold to the Animal Service Center, and hopefully helps them out with other resources. So that brings us to a total of 250 for the year. Our peak performance goal is 25% of all strays secured and returned to their owner. These numbers put us up to 20%. So we're close to reaching our goal. Here are the other 2 measures for peak performance. Is a 10% reduction in stray animal bites. Unfortunately, we have seen a huge increase. So as of date, as of June 30th, we have seen a 62% increase, I should say increase instead of decrease, in stray animals bites. Number 4 is a 10% reduction in owner-victim bites. Again, a huge increase at 32% compared to last year's numbers at this same time frame. Here is a graph for our community cat program. In April, we responded to 68 cats and traps. In May, 73, and in June, 58. The same number of community cat released was 9 in April, 6 in May, and 16 in June. As you can see from this graph, we are already exceeding last year's total numbers in just half the year. So the good part there is the community cats that are being released. That's what we're looking for. Those cats have already been ear-tipped, spayed, neutered, microchipped, vaccinated, so they go back into the community without being able to reproduce. So that's what the whole focus of the community cat program was. So the reasons that we were unable to fill RTO, 17 dogs, they had no contact at home or no contact by phone or at the residence. One had a Hawaii address, one is an El Paso address, and one was a Anthony, New Mexico address. 4 dogs, chips were not updated. 3 dogs, the chips were not registered. 3 dogs, the owners were at work and were unable to redeem them from the officer. 2 dogs, the owners were out of town. 1 cat, no contact by phone or at residence, and 1 cat, no information from the chip company, and 1 dog, no information from the chip company. And here's the big list. Owners, the reasons for owner releasing animals. So we had 14 for aggression, 14 dogs for aggression, 13 dogs where landlord did not allow them on their property, 10 kittens the owner was unable to care for, and this was an entire litter. This was 1 litter. 5 dogs, they kept escaping, 4 dogs unable to care for, 3 dogs old age, euthanasia request for all 3, 3 dogs for lifestyle changes, 3 dogs that were sick and the owners could not afford the vet care. 3 dogs, the owner could not afford to maintain them anymore. 2 cats, the owners were not unable to maintain them. 2 dogs for bites. 2 dogs for the owner had medical issues. 2 dogs, the ex-boyfriend left behind and it became too much of a burden for that ex-girlfriend. 2 dogs, the owner admitted that their dogs were potentially dangerous and no longer wanted them. 1 dog, the owner was allergic. 1 dog, the owner was evicted, and the shelter that they were trying to get into would not allow pets. 1 dog for behavioral issues, 1 dog for medical issues, a euthanasia request, 1 cat, the friend left behind, they no longer could care for it. 1 cat, the owner claimed that it was too loud. 1 cat, the owner was moving into a retirement home. 1 dog, the owner moving. 1 cat, the owner stated to the officer that she liked dogs better, so she no longer wanted this cat. And finally, I didn't know whether to add this into this report, but we had owner released of 10 chickens. because they were all ill. Kind of doesn't fall into this, but I thought I'd just put it in there just because my officers included it, I included it. So the calls for service for April were 1,114, in May were 1,252, in June 1,238, bringing us to a grand total for the year at 7,033. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Questions? Seeing none? Please.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Thank you. This is, first of all, the chickens were sick? The owner was sick?
The chickens were sick, yes, ma'am.
That seems bad, just generally speaking.
Yes.
What happens when something like that happens?
We turn them over to the Animal Service Center, and then their disposition is up to them. So
Okay.
I as of right now, I don't know what happened with them once we impounded them.
But I guess if they were like the burgeoning steps of a pandemic, would we notice that, or is that not something that we would
Absolutely.
notice? Okay.
Absolutely. There was nothing to think of the bird flu or anything like that to suspect that. So, yes, we were good there.
Okay. I don't think it was good for the chickens, but
No.
that's super worrying. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I also just wanted to sort of point out, I feel like this is a very sad tour of both people being irresponsible, which is in and of itself our own issue that we're constantly trying to educate about, but I think also seeing the systems that are affecting people in this context, and in Brian's as well, people being picked up by law enforcement, people being evicted and having to go to shelters where they don't accept pets. I was just in a meeting with some folks who are in Tucson who are looking at community sheltering and addressing unhoused folks in their community, and one of the biggest barriers that they find is people have their pets and they don't want to lose them. And so I think this board, people being picked up by Border Patrol again, I'm sure as this happens more in our community, we will see these effects in every aspect of our existence, and I just really feel it. I know a lot of us are trying to face this in a bunch of different places, but animal control is at the very front end of seeing the impacts of economic recession, deportations, people becoming unhoused, and so I think irresponsible people is one thing. I think it's also something I just want to really elevate and commit to seeing that there are systems that are also contributing to animals becoming unhoused, that I think that we also have to consider in our big picture understanding of what's happening at the shelter and in our communities. So I really am saddened every time by the list of reasons that animals are being given up, but I also just want to commit to you and everyone that these are things that we're thinking about in these contexts, and it's not without notice, I guess, that those are systemic effects that have trickle-down impacts on the shelter that we're all here to support. So I just want to make a depressing note of that.
Thank you.
So.
No, thank you. Truly, thank you. It is depressing, but necessary. And I just want to say, Board Member Gates, if I overlook you, you're on... No, you don't need to move. You're just on the arc. So just give me a holler if you're trying to, and I'm not seeing you. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, next up, shelter statistics and activities. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. So, Liz Seeley here, Interim Executive Director, and I'll be reporting on the second quarter statistics for the animal shelter. So our current animal count, and this is as of yesterday, we have 218 dogs and 36 cats for a total of 254. So we're well below where we were in this time last year. So that's a good sign. So for the second quarter, between April and June, our intake numbers, we had 1,617 dogs, 1,109 cats, and 38 other. So that's a total of 2,764 during the second quarter. And the intake methods for how they came in, 506 were owner surrendered, as you just saw from the other animal control reports. It's interesting that they go first and then we go second, so you can kind of see where all these animals end up. So 20 animals were returned during those 3 months. 139 were seized or welfare hold. 703 were strays brought in by the public. And then our highest number, of course, is strays by animal control, 1,356. And we got 11 wildlife and 32 animals born in care. So the born in care, that can seem like a lot, but it's typical for this time of year. A lot of times what happens is there's a lot of pregnant animals running around this time of year, and when they're brought in, just the stress of that being brought into the shelter can trigger them to go to whelp, to go into labor, and we usually get kittens and puppies born within a few days of being brought in. So it does seem like a lot, but most of these were animals that were brought in pretty far along in the pregnancy. So our total year-to-date intake, so this is for the first and second quarter combined, was 4,915. So it's about 300 up from last year, but it is below the 2023 numbers. Between April and June, we had 20 returns, so 19 dogs and 1 cat. 1 dog for allergies, and this is allergies, human allergies. So somebody adopted a dog and maybe someone in the home was allergic, they didn't know. 5 dogs for a behavior problem. That could be being destructive, digging, barking. As Sarah mentioned, we do work with the Rough to Ready program provides free training for all adopters. Not everybody wants to take advantage of that. Some people just don't have the time to do training. They want to just bring the animal back and get another one, which we allow. So within the 3-week period, if you adopt an animal, you can bring it back and get another one. We don't hold it against you. We want to just make sure that we find a forever home for that pet. So a lot of people do take advantage of the Rough to Ready program, but some people don't. We had 1 dog returned for can't afford basic care. 2 dogs landlord doesn't allow. 2 dogs for lifestyle changes. That usually includes moving. Another reason is also military people who adopt. Sometimes they get deployed. That would be considered a lifestyle change. 6 pets were incompatible. So when you're adopting a dog and you have other dogs at home, we really, really stress that you bring them in for a meet and greet with the new dog, just to see if they're compatible before you go through the whole adoption process. But there's a lot of reasons why someone wouldn't want to do that. Some people have elderly dogs that wouldn't do well. A lot of people are concerned if they bring their personal pets that maybe they'll get sick. And these are valid concerns. We just kind of counsel them and teach them how to do the introduction at home. Sometimes people do bring their animals in to meet and they get along great at the shelter, and then they get home and then it doesn't work out. So we had 6 dogs returned for being incompatible. 2 were returned for not being a good fit, and 1 cat was returned for landlord not allowing, which is unfortunate. So our outcomes for the second quarter, our adoptions, we did 462. Our June numbers were really great, but we didn't beat our June numbers from last year. I believe last June we did over 200 adoptions, and this June I think we did 186, around there. So overall the adoptions were lower than last year between April and June. Our reclaims, 315, and our rescues were down as well. So we did 476 compared to 603 last year, and even 681 the year before. We're not doing as many transports. around this time, just due to lack of resources and things like that. We haven't been able to do as many transports as we want. Our community cats, 249. And so our euthanasia, obviously if adoptions are lower, rescues are lower, we're going to see our euthanasia higher. So there 1,043, which was 37.7%, which brings our live release rate to 59%, and that's just for this quarter, so just between April and June. And so this is these are the year-to-date numbers. So again, there's some variation. Some numbers are down, some numbers are up, but altogether our year-to-date live release is 66.4%, which is the exact same as this same time last year. Our second quarter transfers, so these are all of our rescue partners. We did 473. A lot of these are local rescues. Action Programs for Animals helped us with 9 dogs and 27 cats. Animal Spaces Rescue, that's another local one, 18 dogs and 2 cats. And then Rebel Angel All Breed Rescue, that's our biggest local partner. They helped with 68 dogs and 14 cats. And most of those were transferred out of state. Some of the states we work with frequently are Arizona and Colorado. Cruise Crusaders is a rescue out of Phoenix, and they're one of our biggest supporters as well, so they helped with 44 dogs and 1 cat. And then some of our Colorado rescues, Front Range Freedom Rescue helped with 33 cats, and another one out of Colorado, Nick of Time Rescue. They took in 32 dogs and 77 cats in a 3-month period. So although our rescues are down, we do still have partners that want to help. We're hoping to get our transports back up, and we just want to thank all of our rescues for continuing to support the animals at our shelter, continuing to help us save lives, and we look forward to increasing these numbers. So the euthanasia reasons between April and June, these are the various reasons for euthanasia. If you look at the green, that's going to be the dogs. The biggest reason for the dogs is behavior, timid, fear biter. Fear biter is an animal that comes in, and when you pick it up or approach it, it's not aggressive. It's not aggressive normally, but if you try and pick it up or do anything, it bites out of fear, which is a totally understandable behavior. It is hard to overcome that behavior in the shelter. All of our staff are trained on the fear-free model of fear-free sheltering. So even our admin staff, our front office staff, all take that training, and that just helps us learn to provide ways to reduce fear and anxiety and stress for when they come into the shelter. But sometimes the fear biting is just really hard for some animals to overcome in that environment. The orange, those are the cats. The top 2 are medical failure to thrive and medical respiratory signs. So the failure to thrive means usually it's kittens that are brought in, newborn kittens that come in, they're just days old, without a mother. A lot of them have their umbilical cords attached still, and it's really hard to, even with bottle feeding, to be successful in helping those kittens. And the respiratory signs, the non-TX, that means non-treatment. So a lot of these kittens that do come in at that age, they have upper respiratory infections. So they have crusty eyes, crusty noses. Some of them are just too young, not able to be treated. We do have a pretty good success when kittens come in that are able to be treated. If you look at the next line over, the medical respiratory signs, TX, that means treatment. So less than 20 dogs and cats combined in those 3 months were euthanized because the treatment didn't work. So some animals after treatment, they just don't respond well. Maybe they have underlying conditions, but for the most part, once animals get treated for upper respiratory signs, then they get better, and then we put them up for adoption. Our surgeries for the second quarter, we did 2,002. In April, if you all remember, that was when our medical director had some medical issues of her own, so she stepped away for just a bit, but we were still able to get coverage, and we still did 243 surgeries, and then in May and June, those were right back up. So our shelter and foster surgeries, these are what we call our in-house surgeries, we did 297. Our adoptions, we did 533. Our community cats, we did 837. And the other at 335, that will be anything that's not a spay and neuter, but that also includes low-cost public spay neuters as well as rescue spay neuters. So we do offer our local rescues the opportunity to come in and take advantage of the low-cost spay and neuter, even if the animals are not from our shelter. We have a limited amount of spots available, but we did do 335 in the second quarter. Our year-to-date visitors for the first two quarters, we had over 10,000 visitors. In April, we saw a decrease in visitors, and then it jumped back up in May, and a slight decrease in June. I predict that in July and August, we're going to see these numbers go back up. Those are usually two of our biggest adoption months. We have, like Sarah mentioned, we did the Red, White, and Cute adoption event in July, so we've had a lot of success there. And then in August, we have our Clear the Shelters event coming up. So I would predict that we'll be seeing a lot more visitors in the coming months. So our vaccination clinic, this isn't a quarterly stat, but we put that in there just for to show our last 3 vaccination clinics. We did one in October 2024, and then 2 this year in February and June. So for the distemper parvo for dogs, we did 1,785, and for the feline distemper, we did 311. Now, all of these vaccines were all free to the public. So these were all sponsored by Petco Love. So all of these vaccines, nobody paid for. They were given out for free at these clinics. The microchips, we do allow local communities, members, and businesses to sponsor microchips at $10 for these vaccination clinics. So in October and February, we got 100 microchips sponsored. In June, we had 70. So we were, with those $2,700, we were able to give away 270 free or sponsored microchips. And in total, we did 816. These donations don't typically fall into our microchip line, so when we're kind of looking at our finances, we'll see the microchip line dip a little bit because the sponsored chips go into our general donations fund. But this is kind of to show that we are still doing microchips regularly, and we'll continue to do these vaccination clinics as long as there's a need in the community. Our marketing report for the second quarter. Our Facebook ads, I'm not an expert at Facebook, but I hear these are great. If you look down to where it says clicks to website, we have ads that run in both English and Spanish. So combined, we had over 5,000 clicks just from these Facebook ads alone. So that's a really good number. It's driving people to our website. The ads seem to be successful. We continue to do well on our Facebook page and our Instagram and our website. We had 97,000 views. Each time somebody comes to our website and they look at a dog, that's one view. If they go look at a cat, that's another view. So one person can be responsible for several of these views. But overall, we registered almost 18,000 new users. So we are driving people to our website. We have all of our animals on there. If you're missing a pet, the photos are updated in real time. If you want to adopt, you can view all of our adoptable animals on there, including all of our fosters. So yeah, our website is a pretty good resource if you guys want to adopt, volunteer, foster, everything's on our website. And our volunteer program, they continue to amaze me, the volunteers. In mid-May, we got a new volunteer coordinator. Her name is Christy, and she was brand new. If you look at the new volunteers, and you go down to June, that was her first month on staff, and she already got 20 new volunteers to sign up. So she's doing incredible things with the program. Again, if you look at the hours and you go to June, over 848 hours were put in of volunteer work. And that's mostly work that's done at the shelter, but our volunteers help us in numerous ways. We have 2 rockstar volunteers, Charlie and Sherry Payne. They have a huge social media following, so they've been really helpful in promoting and networking our long-term dogs. So those hours are just things that they do that are not included in these. So, and that's just one person. There's several people that help us with networking animals. So thank you to all of our volunteers who continue to come in, run the dog play groups. I know it's been hot, and they are still out there in the summertime making sure all the dogs get out and get exercise. So it's hard work, and we thank them for coming in and doing that. Our foster program is also doing well. In April, May, and June, we had 99, 97, and 85 active fosters. And on average, we had about 180 animals in foster. So that's 180 animals that are not at the shelter. It's making space for other animals. It's caring for the pets, teaching them how to be more adoptable. And this whole program is run by our one foster coordinator, Vanessa, who does an amazing job. And she's also in charge of our field trip program as well. So she does a lot of work. She puts in so much effort for this program, and it's a big success. We always have room to grow, though. So if anyone wants to foster, contact Vanessa. Our upcoming events. So as I mentioned, August is our Clear the Shelters event. This is a yearly event in partnership with NBC and Telemundo. This year, all of our adoptions are going to be free for the entire month of August. We will have some off-site events as well during that month. Every other Saturday we'll be at Petco, and coming up in October, we'll be partnering with Cispara Volkswagen for their Oktoberfest car show that they've invited us to. We'll also be doing Super Saturdays for PetSmart. So once a month, we'll have puppies for adoption at PetSmart. And we'll be in our new adoption trailer. So this trailer has allowed us to bring puppies out into the community without having to worry about disease. So all of these events will be on our Facebook page under our events tab. And our dog of the week, Isley. She's still available for adoption. I hear she has a lot of energy. She loves toys. She looks like she's got some shepherd in her. So if anyone's looking for an active puppy, check out Isley. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Councilor Corrin.
Thank you, Liz. I just want to I know that we talked about this in our finance committee meeting, but I just want to point out when you talked about the transfers, which are an enormous amount of effort, and you talked about resources being limited. I know that that's you making those connections and making sure that animals get transferred out, and that in this position you're not able to do that as much as you normally do. So I also just want to thank you for your work that's seen and unseen in this, but I want it to be seen by my colleagues as far as something that takes a lot of work, saves lives, and we don't necessarily always understand all of the dynamics behind it. Liz's time doing that is actually an enormous resource that contributes to those animals being saved. So thank you. I also just wanted to echo your gratitude to Vanessa, who I started doing the doggy field trip program just yesterday, and it was amazing. I ran into other people who were doing the doggy field trip thing at Calichi's, which made me feel like, oh, maybe we should sponsor a bunch of Calichi's gift certificates in the backpacks. But Vanessa made it so easy to take a dog out and give information and understand what was expected of me. And the other people also clearly really enjoyed it, and we're following all the rules, so we didn't actually interact with each other. We just said hi across the Calichi's parking lot. But it's, I think, a really powerful way to both get animals out and connect people to the shelter, I think, in ways that are really positive. So special thanks to Vanessa. I'm doing it again next week. I can't wait.
Are you taking out the same dog or a
No,
different?
different dogs. No, I'm going to try to mix it up, you know. I'm going to get my dog from yesterday, Hulu, adopted before I take out another one next week. Then you'll hear me pitch you on another one next week. But I just wanted to give enormous gratitude to the shelter, and I think that you all, from my perspective, I've been visiting a lot lately, and I know that you all have so many things going all the time that are really making an impact in terms of how the animals at the shelter are experiencing life, and how people are interfacing with the shelter, and I think it's really trending in a very positive direction, and I just want to appreciate you all for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Corin. Board Member Gates.
I was just curious, so I remember, I think the last meeting, but I know this is something that has just happened. So Colorado was the only state that had a change to their laws regarding transport, correct?
Yes, and they have not gone into effect yet. I believe they go into effect at the end of July.
Okay, are we expecting a huge impact from that?
Possibly, they changed the rules a little bit now to where I believe they only apply if you're a new rescue. So it might not affect us as much as we thought with this new rule change. So if you've been operating for over 2 years, then you are still able to transfer in puppies and kittens under 3 months. I believe now it only affects the newer rescues. All of our partners have been in the rescue business for several years, so we're fine there. We may see some complications, though, with some other things that might come up from this rule, but it won't affect us as much as we originally thought it would, which is great.
Cool, that is really good to hear. Thank you, Colorado, for advocating for animals coming into your state. So
Yes.
Good to know, thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Gates. Anyone else? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving into our committee reports. First up is Finance. Ex officio member Bencomo as the committee chair.
Thank you, Chair and board members, and thank you for those presentations. We continue to meet monthly as the Finance Committee, and it gives us an opportunity to look at the financials and to maybe suggest corrections or changes that need to be made. And one of the things, as Liz mentioned, that we talked about was in the financials, it looked like the vaccinations and microchips were down, and we talked about the impact of those that are donated and then free to the public. And so I really appreciate them including those stats in their presentation, so you can see the good work that's being done in the volume of the vaccinations and microchips. So at our Finance Committee meetings, we've talked about our grants, about checking out those revenues, like I mentioned. For where we are right now, we have not completely closed our fiscal year. As Josh knows out there, we do closes every week in July, and so we have preliminary numbers for you, and Amy has done a great job in putting a presentation together for you so you can see where we are at this point, and so I'd like to welcome her to the podium so she can present that overview of the financials. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much, and good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. My name is Amy Tron. I'm the Management Analyst for the Animal Services Center in Mesilla Valley, and I'll be giving you the financials this morning. Our total assets, $1,551,204. Total current liabilities, $376,536. Our total fund balance net position, $1,174,668. So our total liabilities and fund balance is $1,551,204. Moving to revenues and expenditures. For revenues, we have $4,973,200. $275. We're at 99.3% of our projected goal for revenues for the fiscal year 25. Expenditures, $4,626,915, and that's at 92.4%. So we're bringing in a lot more revenues than we are for expenditures. Our net change in fund balance is $346,360. Fund balance beginning of the year was $551,736. So our fund balance end of the current period is $898,000.96. Moving to the executive director, total expenditures for this fund were $291,130 at 91.4%. So you can see it's well below the budget parameter of 100. For our medical director, again, did very well for this quarter. Total expenditures, $1,095,456 at 85.3%, again below the 100% parameter. For the kennel fund, total expenditures, $1,763,631 at 97.2%. And last, administrative operations, total expenditures, $1,476,698 at 94.5%. For our grants, we had some unforeseen delays with external dependencies, such as vehicle repairs, and this affected the completion of other projects that these grants were earmarked for, such as vehicle wrap design and installation. And so moving the completion of those projects over to FY26, and a grant carryover request has been added to today's resolution packet. Any questions?
Thank you. Questions? All right, seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
On the Executive Committee and Vice Chair Shaljo Hernandez, I'll ask you to jump in at any point if you want. Actually, the primary topics that we've been discussing are both upcoming agenda items. So lots of discussion about the executive director search, which in just a moment we'll be hearing from the president of the company who is helping us out with that. We also spent some time on an action item you'll see coming up, and that is the adoption of policies, of city manager policies for the ASCMV as we are under a JPA. There's sometimes some overlap or confusion about which policies the ASCMV is running under, so we had discussion about that. Along with that, there are carryovers to things like, I believe the personnel manual was one that we had discussed. One of those documents in need of update, and we'll be able to move ahead with that as we, should action item 6.1 pass. That should open the door to some other and including things like our bylaws updates, which Board Member Gates may share with us later. Am I forgetting anything, Vice Chair?
No, we were just talking about how under committee reports, until we do get the executive search or the executive director hired, that we might want to add the executive or the search committee report back on how the search is going.
Yeah, definitely. Although with our next board meeting coming up in, what would it be, October?
Yeah.
a big crossed fingers
Like
sign from down
fingers
there.
and toes.
But yeah, absolutely, I agree with that if we are still pending. And hopefully instead we'll have been moving into some other sessions or special sessions to move ahead. But thank you for that suggestion. Good thought. Any questions from anyone on things executive committee? Great, thank you. And facilities.
So facilities only met in June, on June the 5th. And so for some unforeseen circumstances, they did not meet any other days for that. So at this point, there's nothing to report at this time, but at our next meeting, we will be reporting.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So at this time, Councillor Corrin, I'm going to have you stand in as tech support. You don't have to jog, but I appreciate the energy. In a moment, we're going to welcome Scott Riley, who is president of Affion Public, who will provide introduction and an update on our executive director search. So Scott, Councillor Corrin is just hopefully getting you unmuted and able to be seen.
Can you hear us, Scott?
Can you hear us, Scott?
I can, yes.
Okay, great. Good. We're not seeing you, so but that's also not a problem, as I think you said you didn't have any presentation that required visual. Oh, there you are.
You can see me.
All right.
All right.
Great.
How's everybody doing today?
Welcome, and I'll turn it over to you.
Well, super. Thank you all. And yes, hopefully by October, we won't have to have an executive discussion about this. We'll be talking about candidates. Again, my name is Scott Riley. Affion Public is the name of our firm. We are a public sector executive search firm, so I appreciate the opportunity to work with you all. I've met with the executive committee to kind of start formalizing the process, but I wanted to take this opportunity to talk with you all about what that process is going to look like and kind of next steps. So we have a draft brochure created, and thank you for your edits back. We've corrected those edits, so I will get that over to you by the end of this week so that you can circulate that with the rest of the board. If we can get approval on that, that officially launches our search. So what that process will look like is we will get the search hopefully posted in the next week out on all of the ancillary job boards that we use for this. It'll be out for 30 days. And then 30 days after the closing. So if we get this out kind of by August 1st, sometime at the end of September, we will be back in front of you with a short list of candidates for review. So a little bit about what will happen in that interim, and a little bit about our experience specifically in kind of the animal care services industry. We're currently doing the animal care services director for the city of Corpus Christi. We recently completed the one for the city of Sugar Land, Texas, and also the city of San Antonio. So this is a space we've been in recently within the last year. And 20 years of doing public sector recruitments, I never did any animal care services director, and now we have 3 of them within the last 18 months or so. So certainly a space that we're in frequently now. So next steps for us is get the job posting, get it out there, start sourcing our candidates that we want to kind of go to and vet through those candidates. Each candidate will go through 3 rounds of interviews with my team, including myself. Additionally, they'll be given a written assignment to complete. Once we get through that part of the process and we feel good about them, then we'll do all the criminal education, financial checks, the social media checks, and the reference checks. So all that information will be completed before I'm back in front of you again with kind of your short list of candidates. Then our expectation was we'll provide that list of candidates to you. I'll review each of those individually, why they're in the mix for us, and then help you all structure an interview process that hopefully will land us our next executive director. So That's the brief overview of kind of the steps. I'm open to questions that you may have or anything that I didn't cover that you'd like for me to cover.
Thank you so much. So let me start with board members, questions? No, nothing? We have a ton of interested parties here from all aspects. Would anyone care to, yeah, please come on up. I'll just ask you to state your name, of course, and use the podium. Not a problem. Good morning.
Hi, Becky. Jerry Wheelis. Quick question on for Scott, on your interviewing committees, do you have members that are familiar with animal welfare and shelter running and business aspects and all of those kind of things that go into the position?
So my team has had the experience in obviously doing that. Our job is to kind of get the bigger bucket down to a top 8 or so, and then bring that forward to the board, and then the board will get to choose who they want to put on the interview committee for that. But as far as our ability to assess people's background, yes, we don't have anybody that's an animal care specialist, but like I said, we've recently completed 3 of these searches in the last year, so very familiar with a lot of the metrics that are being measured in animal care services right now.
Okay. And just to follow up on that, are we still having members of the public outside of the board on the shortlist committee?
And Scott, I can jump in on that. Yes, we're discussing a couple of different methods for how we're best going to incorporate non-board experts in this. I think those of us who just went through the hiring process for the executive director of South Central Solid Waste Authority, we had a really great method, I think, for that, where there were kind of simultaneous interview groups going on. So it was, timely and time efficient, but we got a wide range of input. So we'll definitely be updating on that, and always reach out with your suggestions, please.
I'm not shy, Becky. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? All right, great. Well, Scott, thank you so much for zooming in, listening, and I know your group has been reviewing our board member recordings, board meeting recordings, not board member recordings. Sorry, that sounded creepy. So happy that you had the chance to get to hear us live and kind of get a temperature of what's happening here. So thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Yes, thanks, Becky. Appreciate it. And we'll get you the updated brochure again this week, and we should be ready to go.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Councillor Corn, for providing excellence in tech support, impromptu tech support. Moving on to our action items. Our first item up is 6.1, a resolution to adopt city manager policies.
So moved, Shalja Hernandez.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you very much. Oh. No, I promise we won't start without you, Councillor Corrin. What's your step count on this meeting? That's good stuff.
Normally I sit further down on the dais, so it's even higher on other days. I don't know if you want to have discussion first or if I should add the verbiage for the amendment.
I completely forgot about that. Why don't we go ahead and have discussion first?
Hi, Liz Seeley. So this resolution is just to officially adopt several of the policies from the city manager for the record and for auditing purposes.
And we have the PDF for the packet for anyone who would need to read along, or we're looking at things like travel policies, at lots and lots of travel policies.
I believe they're all combined into that PDF, so
Okay,
it's all
great.
the financial policies, travel, substance abuse, things like that.
Okay, fantastic. Questions for, yes, please, Board Member Gates.
So I'm just curious, like, I think the travel policies is where I started reading. I'm curious if there is any expected ways in which this will impact, because obviously transport exists and that's a thing that we do. So I'm just curious if this is gonna, like, what sort of changes this would make to the current process.
So the city's travel policy is specifically for, not for transport. So it's for conferences, trainings, things like that. We, as the shelter, have our own transport policy for those types of things. So this one would just be for conferences and things like that.
Okay, cool. That helps clarify, because I was a little concerned with kind of the more bureaucracy to get a transport out, so.
Yeah.
Good to know. Any other changes that would impact, like maybe a current policy that you could think of that would call out, you know, something that would change?
Not that I saw. Everything is pretty standard. We've been following them for several years. The substance abuse policy, while we have been following it, we've never officially adopted it. So our staff do follow that as well. But this is just to kind of make it on record.
Cool, thank you.
Any other questions on discussion? Okay, great. Thank you. Councillor Corrin?
And this is, again, I think Liz has been analyzing, working with Board Member Bencomo, and analyzing what all happens that is germane in the hundreds of pages of city policies. And in that context, we missed one thing that I would like to add now. So I propose an amendment to add a that says that the city's procurement code, as codified in Chapter 24 of the Las Cruces Municipal Code, is hereby adopted by the ASCMV Governing Board. And so that didn't make it into the packet that we sent out, but we realized that we needed to include that. So I would like to move that we amend it for that.
I'll second the amendment.
And I'll agree to that also as a second.
Okay, great. So I think we need to take a vote on the amendment. So I will, and I feel like Board Member Campbell, you just showed that you agreed, but I'll ask one more time. Board Member Campbell?
Yes.
Board Member Gates?
Yes.
Vice Chair Shaljo Hernandez?
Yes.
Board Member Bueling Gardner?
Yes.
Councillor Corrin?
Yes.
And I, Chair Graham, vote yes. And now on to a vote for the resolution itself to adopt city manager policies. Board Member Campbell?
Yes.
Board Member Gates?
Yes.
Vice Chair Shaljo Hernandez?
Yes.
Board Member Bueling Gardner?
Yes.
Councillor Corrin?
Yes.
And I, Chair Graham, vote yes. So, resolution adopted. Next up, Resolution 6.2, allowing for carryover of remaining grant funds from FY 2025 in the amount of $27,442.44 from various grants for revenues and expenditures in Fund 7440 to adjust the adopted FY 2026 budget.
Move to approve.
Approve.
Thank you.
So we are requesting to move these funds over, carry them over from two Petco Love grants that we're trying to close out for the purchase of the new adoption trailer that I had mentioned, as well as some repairs on our vehicles and some graphic wraps that were installed in some of our vehicles.
Okay, great. Thank you. Questions? Okay. Seeing none. Board Member Campbell?
Yes.
Board Member Gates?
Yes.
Vice Chair Shaljo Hernandez?
Yes.
Board Member Bueling Gardner?
Yes.
Councillor Corrin?
Yes.
And I, Chair Graham, vote yes. Resolution passes. Thank you so much. Moving on to public input. Would any members of the public? Yeah, please come on down. And this is my chance to operate the clock for the first time, so I'm super excited. So I have 3 minutes up there, and if you'll just state your name.
Hi, I'm Dina Dargo. Good morning, board members. I'm not hearing anything about the new revised animal control ordinances. I think the public is generally unaware that those have changed, and I think specifically where spay-neuter comes into play here, that it's the law. Unless you have a permit and an exemption. So I would like to see that implemented and rolled out in a way that there's some public awareness and eventually some sort of enforcement, even if that's just a written notice that they're not in compliance. What I see is people working as hard as they possibly can to improve adoption rates, fosters, transports out of our area of animals while the intakes remain high. And I don't see that that trajectory is ever going to change unless we start with the spay-neuter. The places that we transport the animals to, they've done that. They've reduced that intake. They've mandated spay-neuter. They've managed to make those numbers reasonable so that every space in their shelter that's freed up isn't immediately filled. They've done it. It's doable. We can do it. Let's do it. Let's get started on this. I don't know if it would take, the social media presence is obviously very successful. Maybe that's a place to start with community awareness and let people sort of see it being rolled out in a positive way. And then the access and the funding for the spay-neuter. If that needs to be increased, we've got 5 new veterinarians in the community. So, that's a real plus for this too. Timing is everything. I think it's time to get it started, if you would. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please.
I don't know if you recall, I spoke on House Bill 113 that passed. That's a great source of funding that would apply to all of these programs. If you'd like another copy, I have one.
No, got it. And awesome. On the city side, we have our grants department.
Absolutely. Fabulous.
Thank you so much. Yes, please come on down. Yeah, I don't know. Good morning. Just please state your name.
I'm Tina Dalcor. I've been up here a couple of times, and I'm up here to beat my drum once more. My numbers that I like to look at is the diversion numbers. And the only person that gave that was County ACO. So I'm going to work with him to increase that number. I need numbers from the city and Animal Services since they used to do it. They didn't have that in their presentation anymore. Which leads me then to my statement of how wonderful Animal Services is. There's a long story of why I ended up at the Dollar General when I did. But when I walked in, I was greeted by this huge 55-pound pit bull. And I asked the staff, since I know them very well, what is this dog doing in the store? And they told me, he's been here all day. And I asked him, well, why didn't you call animal control? Well, we were afraid he would be euthanized. And I said, excuse me? Let me check what time Animal Services closes so I can run the dog down there, since I had given away my scanner to somebody because I was going to quit the business. Well, it was a kind of a tussle trying to get a 55-pound pit bull to cooperate with me when all he wanted to do was kiss me all over. But we finally corralled him, got him into my vehicle, ran down to Animal Services quick to see if he had a microchip. Lo and behold, the dog had a microchip. Unfortunately, when Animal Services called the numbers, there was no answer. So then I'm sitting here with a dilemma. What do we do with this dog? Because I can't take it home. You all know my story of why I can't take it to my house. So we decided to surrender the dog to Animal Services, and they would try to keep contacting the owner. Well, I went back to a dollar store to tell them that the animal was safe, but at Animal Services. And they were a little disappointed because they were trying to adopt the dog as their mascot. Because a lot of customers bought a whole bunch of treats for this dog. And I have to go back to see if they still have the treat so I can donate it to the owner. But the next day I did see the post that the owner had claimed the dog. So it does work a microchip, and that will decrease the intake numbers. Because if they had called animal services, or not animal services, ACO, which would have been Gino back here, he could have scanned the dog, called the owner at that time, and we could have made a choice. But my time is up, so I am on the bandwagon once again. Funding for microchips, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Others? Okay. Seeing none. Board member comments. All right. Also none. Then at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Vice Chair Shaljo Hernandez.
Second.
Thank you so much. And we are adjourned at 10:21 a.m. Thank you all so much.